Right, so the new replacement oil pressure switch arrived today, and that's from David Drew, who does various parts for triples, etc., and other bikes. And this looks good. It's actually a slightly higher rated switch than the originals. Apparently the originals are about 4 or 5 psi. That's when they come on, and this one comes on between 8 and 9 psi when it drops below that. So that's good. Also, it looks like a pretty solid switch, and also it comes with a proper copper washer rather than the fibre washer of the other one, so I'm a lot happy about that. So I'm simply going to put that in, and then I'll put the exhaust back on properly. I've got a proper fitting kit for that now, and then I'll start the engine and try and tune the engine, get it all running totally right. I haven't done the carbs yet because obviously I haven't really had the chance to run the engine enough yet, but we'll put this in, and much to the purest horror, I will probably also put some PTFE tape on this thread, because it is a strange thread and I don't have a tap for it to run it through. What do they call it? It's an MPS thread, I think it is. I'm not sure what that stands for even. So they are pretty standard on oil pressure switches. I'm just trying to get this thing to focus. It keeps going in and out. But I'll put some PTFE on because, why not? I don't want to risk stripping that thread. Absolutely not. Because the only way of doing it is to take the whole damn engine back out and do it again, and I have no intention of doing that. So yeah, so we'll put it in. I don't want to over tighten it, and put some PTFE on. It's got the copper washer, and we'll take it from there. But very, very happy, very happy. Right, I just wanted to say that, so I fitted in new oil pressure, great, and started the engine, and I thought I'd sorted out the slow running problem. I wasn't sure what I'd done, but anyway, it seemed to be okay. But having put the new oil pressure switch in and everything's fine in that respect, suddenly I realised, no, the bike is still running really badly. And I thought, oh, what on earth is this? Anyway, to cut a long story short, I thought I'll have a go and I'll just adjust the these air screws on the carburetor, pilot air screws, okay, and that was it. Suddenly the engine just smoothed out, and it was the fact that I'd set these at the standard setting of 1.5 turns out. And but they don't want to be 1.5. They all want to be about 1, which is actually about 1/3 out. Anyway, and I'll show you the engine running, and then I'll do a very quick demo of how to set those air screws properly. But that's what it was. I didn't realise. Yes, I thought I'd get the engine ticking over, and then set the air screws. But they were so far out, the engine wouldn't tick over. If that makes sense. And that's all it was. It was just the air screws were a mile out. Okay, well, but I'm glad it was something dead simple. Right, anyway, I'm going to start, I'll show you a video now of the engine running, and then I'll do a quick video of how to adjust those screws, which is dead straightforward. All you do is, right, so to adjust these screws, all you do is you run the engine to fast tick over, and then you turn this air screw, and let's see if I can get my, right, and you turn it in and out until the engine runs at its fastest tick over, and that's it. And it's dead easy. People, the only reason it's not dead easy if there's something wrong with the carbs. I've done another video on this. If the carbs are worn and there's air leaks, or if the pilot jets are blocked, then you'll never tune it, or there's an air leak somewhere, whatever. But if brand new carbs and so on, it's dead easy. You turn it, and when the revs stop increasing, then that's it. Turn it to its highest rev point, and if you go too far, it'll start going down either way, and then that's it. I'll do a video after I show you the engine running and so on. Okay, I've got a bit of a fast tick over. I've got deliberately fast, because it's a new engine, but we're good now. Yeah, I'm deliberately leaving that a little bit fast because it's new. I might take it down a tad, but only a tad. Happy. Right, so after so much faffing about and this, that and the other, trying to get this thing to tick over, I was beginning to wonder what on earth the problem was. I just couldn't get my head around it, and it turned out to be the air screws. Now, for whatever reason, the standard setting on a pilot jet air screw is 1.5 turns out. So what I did was I set all 3 carbs to 1.5 turns out, and the idea was that when I got the bike ticking over roughly, I would then set these exactly. What I didn't realise was that these are a mile out from 1.5 out. I'll get the screwdriver. I'll see what it is on this side, because I think so. It should be 1.5 out. So we're now a half, 1, just under 1. Oh no, 1. We're just on 1 now. And that's what it was. I'm just trying to get back exactly where it was. All it was those 3 air screws were miles out. Simple as that. And I mean, a mile out. So that's why it wouldn't tick over. So I was just having the thought, I'll just have a go at these, and suddenly, well, I turned this one, and the engine just like revved from like nothing up to about 3,000. I don't know what this one is. I think this one might be nearer. Just make a note of where it is now, because I've set them all now. So that's half, 1, just over 1. But that sort of half turn or whatever made all the difference. So they were set at all set at 1.5 out, and that was what the problem was. That's why I wouldn't tick over. So as soon as I started to adjust the air screws, the whole engine just totally smoothed out, and now it runs perfectly, ticks over perfectly. It's just, I've never had carbs that were that far off the 1.5 turn out before, and so it just didn't occur to me, because they were, I can't describe, just half turn on that, and that changed the whole engine, and that was it. And that's what it was. It just didn't occur to me, because all my other bikes, all the settings are virtually exactly on 1.5, just a little bit either side. But these, a good half turn out, and that half turn, I mean, it increased the revs, from 1,000 up to 3,000. Okay, so I'm going to try and demo tuning the air screws, but it's the engine's not that warm anymore, and I don't want to run it too much. But and obviously you need the engine warm to do it. But I'll see if I can give you a demo, and you can just hear that engine and how easy it is to work out. All you need to do is get it to its running at its fastest point. Simple as that. Okay, here we go. I'll just have to run it a bit to warm it up before it'll actually tick over. Tick over at all. simply turn it so it's past the tick over point. I don't want to leave the pipe ticking over too long. I'll turn the tick over down a little bit from where it was before. But you get the idea. You just turn it, and the fastest the engine's running, that's where it is, and then you repeat with the other two cars, and then turn the tick over down or whatever at the end. Done. Very easy. Very easy if your carbs are sorted, but that won't work tuning that if the carbs aren't sorted. But you know, there's a bit of a mystique about tuning those, but if the carbs are right, it's dead easy. You just simply turn it until you get the fastest tick over position, and that's it, you're done. In my case, the engine was running like a dog because they were so far out that the bike just wouldn't tick over at all, and that was what the problem was. You live and learn. Right, I'm just checking the compression, so the engine's quite warm. I've turned the ignition off, the sort of cutout, and I'm just going to, I've taken all the plugs out. I'm just going to run the, I'll run it up with wide open throttle, so I'll have to put this down, won't I? Okay, well what I'm going to do is, I'll just show you, I'm going to turn it over on the starter, but I need to open the throttle full, so I need both hands for this, and then we'll see what pressure we get. Hopefully somewhere around 100 plus would be good. So I'll do that and then we'll see what the reading is. I'm just going to chug it over on the starter for a few seconds with the throttle held wide open. You need to do that to allow air, that draws air in and increases the compression and gives you the full reading. Okay, I'll chug that over and see what we got. And there we go. So we've got what's that, just under 125, about 120, which is great on a fresh engine. I'd expect the compression to increase up to over 125 anyway, you know, in the next few miles, maybe up to as high as 150, but on a fresh engine that's great. The main thing is now that we'll check the other two cylinders and that they should be roughly the same. Fingers crossed. Right, that's middle cylinder, and that's almost identical to the outer cylinder, so that's fantastic. And I'll try the timing side last. And that's the timing side, and amazing. I'm really chuffed with that. Almost identical, all three cylinders, almost identical compression, which is just brilliant.